There's been a lot of controversy, a lot of things going on in the city of Toronto and elsewhere with respect to pride and with respect to anti-Israel groups making their way into Pride Parade. I mean, what business do they have walking around comparing Israel to a Nazi state, to an apartheid state? It's clearly anti-Semitic. And that should be obvious and should be apparent to all. And I think the irony of it all, as most of us know, and is that, of course, Israel is not only the most farthest thing in the world from an apartheid state, it's a democracy, and it is a haven for Jews, for gay people all over the Middle East. I spoke with Nitzan Horowitz earlier today from Tel Aviv. He's the first openly gay member of the Knesset, Israeli parliament, and I talked to him this afternoon for a short interview, and we're going to play that for you this evening. We have Martin Gladstone here, who is an activist and producer of the film Reclaiming Our Pride. I don't know if any of you ever seen it. He did a great job with this film, Reclaiming Our Pride, because I think, and I'll let Martin and Justine Apple from Kulanu explain how they feel when they go to have fun at Pride and to exercise the right that gays have now to be open and proud of who they are, and they see what's that? We're going to show. We're not going to show the whole movie of Claimer, but we do have a clip from an excellent movie, as well as Martin's, okay, that is just coming out. Aaron, do you remember the title? Okay, it's called The Invisible Man. And what it's a story. You're going to see some interviews with Palestinians who escaped, or who are escaping, and they tell their story. So we're just going to see a few-minute clip from that later on. So we have a lot to do. Of course, we have Mickey Lewin here, who probably many of you know. He's a great musician, great performer. We also have Toby Rubb. Toby Rubb is here. She's a wonderful dancer. She's my daughter, my stepdaughter, and she's going to do a dance for us. We'll have to clear the stage later. And we have this incredible DJ here, Bernie Wexler and team. Okay, Bernie's? He came with Rick Levine from the Rick Levine band, who'll be playing on the float. So we got lots going on. I don't know if we're quite ready to go, because Bernie just came from an event with the two Peters, Peter Sherman and Peter Kent. Thank you. Peter Kent. Gila also came from that event. Gila's one of our hosts here. She has her own show called Gila and Guests, and she's doing great at that. We also have Doris Epstein here, who's co-hosted MENSCHlife with me for a long time, and she still does MENSCHlife shows. This is being broadcast right now, I hope. Yes, okay, on alltalktv.com. So this is also our launch of our network, alltalktv.com. And we've been pushing this event out on Facebook, so hopefully we'll have a number of viewers from all over the world watching this event as well. And that is basically the story. So what I was going to see if, Bernie, are we ready to go, or should we have Mickey play some good songs to get everybody in the mood? Mickey, your game? Okay, Mickey Lewin, everybody. Thank you for coming. We're going to bring in some pizzas and things a little bit later, so we'll have some food to eat, and we'll talk more.
Okay, I'm going to sing a song called Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Everybody needs peace? Amen, yeah. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam עלינו ועל כל העולם. סלאם, 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 עלינו ועל כל העולם. סלאם, סלאם, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. סלאם עלינו ועל כל העולם. סלאם, 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 עלינו ועל כל העולם. סלאם, סלאם, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו. Just a little bit more volume here, because I can't hear myself. All right. No, the guitar, yeah. Yeah, just a little more guitar. No, here, this I can hear, yeah. Thank you. I'm going to sing What a Wonderful World in Hebrew and English. Do you ever hear it in Hebrew? No? It's your chance. Marianne has, yeah. Right? I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright blessed days and the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow, they'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. כשאני רואה בחלוני את שמוריק לך וגם לי, אני שר לעצמי איזה אחלה עולם. השמיים כחולים, ענן לבן והבוקר בהיר, ובלילה ישן ואחלום לעצמי איזה אחלה עולם. וכל צבעי הקשת יפים וחדשים, פרוסים אחרי הגשם על פני האנשים, והיום כה יפה, ובא לי כל כך לומר שאני אוהב אותך. והנה תינוקות בוכים במיטה, מה שהם ילמדו, לעולם לא אדע, אני שר לעצמי, איזה אחלה עולם. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. What a wonderful world, yeah. One more?
Yeah, do one more.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see, no, I won't be afraid, no, I won't be afraid, just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me, stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble or fall, all the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. Ah, thank you.
Okay, welcome back. Here we are. So the show, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned that before. The show was MENSCHlife. So we're doing a live broadcast on All Talk TV, but I have a show called MENSCHlife, as some of you might know. So this is going to be... Thank you, Irene. Thank you very much. Irene Becker, by the way, is also one of our hosts. She has a show that's just called Passion Point. Isn't that a great name? And she's a wonderful host, and she does a really wonderful job. And so, welcome. Okay, so we're here on the stage with Justine Apple and Martin Gladstone. And welcome both here to MENSCHlife.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Okay, it's great to have you guys here. So let's start with Justine, since I kind of gave some kudos to you, Martin, for your film. So tell us about Kulanu Toronto. You're the executive director of this
Right. So
organization.
Kulanu Toronto is the only Jewish, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender organization here in the city. We've been around since the year 2000, so in existence for 11 years. We started off as a university group with the U of T, as a U of T group, but that changed a few years ago when we started to attract people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and up. Our name is Kulanu, which means all of us in Hebrew, and it really does speak to our mission because our goal is to be inclusive of everyone, to all people who are LGBT. And we also invite allies and friends to come and participate at our events. And we run all types of events. We run several events monthly, including Shabbat dinners. We run an annual Passover Seder, a Hanukkah party. We do programming during Holocaust Education Week in November. And in fact, I was just at a lecture before coming here today, David, which was held at U of T, and they mentioned the film called Paragraph 175, which existed during the Holocaust, and it was basically gay men were not allowed to get involved in sexual activity, and that was considered to be, obviously very problematic at the time. And there are a few survivors from the Holocaust who were persecuted, who are gay men, and they decided to be interviewed. And that turned into a film called Paragraph 175, and that's actually going to be screening at the Metropolitan Community Church in downtown Toronto in November. So we're really excited to be screening that, and we hope some people from this audience will attend. But
so that's about gay, Holocaust survivors. Is that right?
Gay men in the Holocaust,
Okay.
yeah, survivors who
because
were
we know
persecuted as a
that
result of being gay.
That's right. There
Yeah.
were gays who didn't have to be Jewish. If you were gay, you qualified.
Yes. So some of the men interviewed in the film are Jewish and others aren't.
Okay.
And there are not that many who, there were not that many left who were interviewed for this.
Okay, gotcha. I just wanted to mention, because you mentioned the organization, is Andrea Spindle here? This is Andrea, hi. Andrea Spindle is also from an organization called Kulanu, but it's not the same Kulanu.
No.
Andrea's organization reaches out to Jewish communities who are lost in sort of remote regions of the world, not to be confused with Kulanu Toronto,
Right,
the
and that's
LGBT.
that's why we actually encourage people to, when they talk about us, to call our organization Kulanu Toronto as opposed to just Kulanu, because of Andrea's organization that already exists.
So that's one of the first things that I learned when I started, is that there's two Kulanus. They're not the same. The second thing that I learned is that a float is not the same thing as a flotilla. I've been waiting 6 months to tell that joke, so whoever laughed, thank you very much. Okay, so now speaking of floats, this is the first year. Martin, is the first year there's going to be a float. Does Martin know anything about the float? Have you told Martin?
The float is amazing, but again, I got to let Justine tell you about that, because she has been the one who has been gear shifting that, the float.
Okay, so tell us about the float.
So we're very excited to have a float in the parade this year, which is happening next Sunday, and also to have a live 5-piece band playing on our float. And Rick Levine, who's here, is spearheading that effort, and also Bernie Wexler on his left. And we're really looking forward to having you and the band with us. We're going to be on a 20-foot flatbed truck, and we're going to decorate that with blue and white and rainbow-colored balloons, and also some Israeli and rainbow flags and Canadian flags, just to show that we're gay and we're Jewish and we're here celebrating Pride in Toronto.
Okay.
And sorry, can I make one more comment?
Go ahead.
We're also going to have 4 people from Kulanu who are going to be dancing on the float, and we're also going to have 2 professional female dancers who are with the Rick Levine band dancing as well. So it's going to be very exciting. It's going to be pumped up. It's going to be fun, lively, and this is the first year that we're doing this. So we're
first
happy to have
year Kulanu float. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, now. Question for Martin. Martin, you've been very involved with some of the politics that goes on. There's been so much going on in the city, because last year there was this issue about funding if these anti-Israel groups, I don't even like mentioning the name because it's outrageous, but Queers Against Israel, let's say for short, wasn't supposed to march in last year's. The deal was that they weren't. If they marched, the city gave them the money, and they weren't supposed to march, but they marched anyway, and the city didn't have to give back the money. So what's the story with that?
Well, that's a good question. the saga has continued and continued, and most people are constantly asking me what's going on with this. In fact, last year what happened, it was the Pride Board that said we're going to ban the term Israeli apartheid. It's a hateful term. It's a divisive term, it's an intellectually dishonest term, it's a deceitful term. It doesn't belong in a city celebration, and this was the pressure they were hearing from counselors and sponsors and concerned people in the Jewish community and not the Jewish community. Other just supporters of Israel were saying this doesn't belong in a celebration of gay pride, and in fact, the hypocrisy is glaring when you consider that Israel is a world leader in gay rights, and why would you single out a world leader in gay rights at a gay pride parade and be silent about the atrocities that happens in at least 77 other countries around the world. So they banned the phrase, but the pressure from the anti-Israel groups was so strong on the basis they claimed that this was a violation of free speech, which raised another whole sidebar and a side issue. And what happened was the city handed over the money, and then the Pride Board rescinded, which was, in the city's eyes, was a complete deceitful act to do. So
But they didn't, did they have to repay the money?
No, no, they did not have to repay the money. But the city said,
Why not?
well, because the city decided in its infinite wisdom that it wasn't going to have to, they weren't going to have to repay the funds.
No accountability.
No accountability.
And so this year, what's happening?
Well, this year, what is now happening is, at the time last year, the city said that we're not going to give you your funding until after the Pride Parade. And they made a resolution to hand over the phrase Israel apartheid. I hate to use the phrase, but that's the phrase that was so deeply offensive and hurtful and harmful. That phrase was then sent to the city manager, and it was, the hot potato was thrown to the city manager to decide if, in fact, that phrase violated the anti-discrimination code of the City of Toronto. And not doing what we consider to be a really proper review or a proper reference or referral to city values of respect, inclusion, and tolerance, the city manager just gave this summary opinion saying we can't find anywhere that this violates anything, so technically it doesn't violate it. So this group then used that as a trophy, as a vindication, to then say, well, you see, we're not violating the anti-discrimination code of the city, which in turn started various councillors, like Councillor Pasternak, to say out loud, then if our anti-discrimination code of the City of Toronto can't keep a group like this out, it's seriously broken, and it has to go back and be fixed. So where we're standing now is Pride will get its money on after the parade, after July the 3rd, but I've actually spoken to a few councillors, and because this is uncharted territory, nobody's really clear logistically what happens. On one hand, you have the city manager who said it doesn't violate anything. On the other hand, you have a community that says it's deeply disrespectful, it has nothing to do with a city celebration. So you have this divisiveness on council. And Councillor Mammoliti, I think, said it the best when he said all this group has really accomplished to do is they split the gay community, they've hurt and harmed the Jewish community, and now they have split the city council. And the group, by its very nature, by its name, is inherently divisive, and they shouldn't be in the Pride Parade.
Well, I think this is a very important story that not enough people know about. Can we know, we tried to get viewers online. Does anyone have stats? Do we know how many people are watching right now? Because we've been pushing this out. Do we have any figures, Lior? Not at the moment. Not at the moment. Josh, do we know? Josh? Do we have a figure on how many people are watching the show right now? Okay, so we're going to check on that. Yeah.
Can I tell you why it's such a harmful, I mean, for the obvious reasons, this is part of a bigger picture of what many people call the soft war against Israel. And what that means is these various groups will take over various different arenas, such as university campuses, film festivals, and their singular goal is to demonize the state of Israel and to get everybody to believe that somehow it's this pariah state, that it's soaked with the same stain as the former South Africa. Mm-hmm. And if you can
or
get... Or
Nazi regime.
Or you have them... We've had marchers in past years that have worn crossed-out swastikas, and the messaging, the symbolic messaging being that Israel has now become the moral equivalent of Nazi Germany. And when we put that out there, in fact, they have defended it with all these really tortured arguments, and they haven't distanced themselves from these types of things that are deeply, deeply offensive. But what they're trying to do in the bigger picture is to turn Israel, the state of Israel, into a pariah state. It goes to the core of its legitimacy. And that's the problem. If they can hijack a city-funded celebration and make the hatred of Israel a gay value, and even though it's anti-logical, it's deceitful, it's intellectually dishonest, it's hurtful, all those things, but if they can succeed in doing it, then what they've done is put another nail towards this delegitimization campaign.
Right. Lior, do we have that video ready from my conversation today with Nitzan Horowitz from the Israeli Knesset? MENSCHlife here, and we are live talking with Nitzan Horowitz. Nitzan Horowitz was elected to the Knesset in 2009. He's with the party called New Movement, and he's the first openly gay Knesset member of parliament in Israel. Welcome. Nitzan, it's great to have you with us. Thanks very much for joining us from Israel.
Thank you, David, and shalom you all from Tel Aviv.
Thank you very much. So, Nitzan, the premise of this call with you to start with is that, you know, we, the Jewish community overall, and in this case in particular, the gay Jewish community here in Toronto felt that, you know, some of the fun that was happening at the Gay Pride Parade for the last many years, some of the fun has been taken away because there's some groups that are out with their anti-Israel slogans comparing us to whether it's an apartheid state or to terrible things like a Nazi regime and so on. And we wanted to take a look at to what was going on in Israel from a political situation and also in terms of what is gay life like in Israel compared to other countries in the world. So where would you like to start?
Well, let me tell you that I am a member of the minority in Israel, member of the opposition. And as such, I am very critical towards the Israeli government. We actually conduct a lot of campaigns against the government, but from within the framework of the Israeli democracy. Now, I think criticism towards Israel is of course legitimate, but you should not cross the line into actions of boycott and of delegitimization. Of course, Israel has the right to exist as a Jewish and democratic nation, and we try from within the Israeli society to maintain those firm democratic values of human rights, civil rights, equality, anti-discrimination, and fighting racism. This is what we do in Israel as a political party and as part of the gay community. And I expect all our friends around the world to share with us this sort of strive for democratization, democracy in Israel, while keeping in mind the fact that Israel is a very stable and solid democracy in a region which is not democratic at all. So we have this challenge of maintaining democracy, strengthening democracy in Israel, and of course defending ourselves, which is not obvious.
Nitzan, tell us, what is it like to be a gay person living in Israel? I mean, we've seen a lot of advancements in other countries, Canada, the U.S., but I know there's some countries in the Middle East where it's unheard of. Can you give us some view on how Israel stacks up globally, and also the contrast between Israel and the other countries in the Middle East?
Well, Israel has a very active gay community, especially in Tel Aviv, but all over Israel. We just had a huge gay pride in Tel Aviv 2 weeks ago with almost 100,000 participants. Just yesterday we had a very big event in Haifa, up in the north. We are going to have a gay event even in Jerusalem, the holy city, and gay events, gay prides all over Israel. So this is something that we maintain, we are holding for the last 10 years at least, with huge success. And gay prides in Israel are not only to celebrate, gay rights and the gay community, but it's a manifestation of Israelis, straight people as well, that would like Israel to be tolerant, open, and of course inclusive. And I think our campaign is quite successful. We achieved many rights, equal rights regarding partnership, regarding adoption, regarding inheritance, regarding family law, etc., etc. And this is something that we, you know, as an openly gay member of parliament, I feel very, you know, I wouldn't say that the fight is over, but there are still many things to achieve. But we already achieved a lot in Israel, and I'm very happy about it.
Nitzan, can you give us an idea of what it's like for gay people living in some of the other countries or living in Gaza or West Bank, where they're talking Egypt, Saudi Arabia, or wherever, and what role does Israel play? Do some people come to Israel?
Well, you know, unfortunately, the situation of gay people in the Arab world is not satisfactory at all. Homosexuality is still a criminal offense in most of those countries, nations. And personally, I can tell you that as an Israeli parliament member, I get complaints, letters, all sorts of requests from gay Arabs asking me to help them. And we're trying to do so. This is our duty. And so, you know, on one side, we fight in Israel for strengthening the Israeli democracy, for civil rights and human rights in Israel, regarding the Palestinians as well. And on the other hand, we are sort of getting all sorts of requests for help from Palestinians and from Arabs in general, from the entire region. So this is a complex situation, and we're trying to do our best to help them.
And are you able to help them? Do you allow a certain number of people who are, you know, either threatening, having their life threatened or whatever from another country? Do you allow them to seek asylum in Israel?
Some of them get asylum, but usually what they wish for is to get asylum overseas, let's say in Europe or in North America. They go through Israel, and then they leave the region, and they find safe haven someplace else. Now, you see, this is a complex situation because, let's say, a Palestinian in Gaza is threatened because he's gay. Now, he's coming to Israel in a way, and then here he is sort of an illegal sort of resident, okay? So then he's facing like a double problem. So we're trying to help him here through the Israeli authorities in order for him to get sort of a refugee status, so he will be able to get a sort of a place someplace else in Europe or elsewhere.
Can you tell us, please, about the gay pride in Tel Aviv? I've heard that the number of gay people living in Tel Aviv is a very high percentage. I wonder why that is, and how does the gay pride in Tel Aviv compare with others around the world?
Well, you know, gay people in general, they tend to go for the big cities, and the big city in Israel is Tel Aviv, the Tel Aviv metropolitan area, which is quite liberal in comparison to, let's say, some other parts of Israel, especially Jerusalem. And so Tel Aviv is an open-minded secular city, is holding its annual gay parade, gay pride event annually. And it attracts huge crowds from all over the country. And we're celebrating together Israeli democracy and values of human rights and civil rights and equality. And of course, like every other year, you know, we have all sorts of people, especially, you know, coming from some ultra-Orthodox religious circles, trying to put all sorts of obstacles on these events, but we overcome these obstacles with the help of the Tel Aviv municipality and other gay organizations. And, this year it was a huge success. And again, it's not just in Tel Aviv, it's being held all over Israel, in Haifa, in Jerusalem, in Beersheba, in Eilat. And this is visibility and at its best. So really, we do a lot of effort. We really try hard for these events to be as big and successful as possible.
Nitzan, is there a lot of tourism? I mean, it sounds like if you're a gay person, that Tel Aviv would be a fabulous place for a vacation. I mean, I'm not gay personally, but I love Tel Aviv, and I can't wait to get back there. Do enough people know around the world in the gay community how inviting and how much fun they can have in Tel Aviv?
Well, there is a fairly new phenomena of gay tourism in Tel Aviv. This year, actually, we have quite a lot of tourists coming here, especially from Europe, enjoying the beaches, enjoying the parties, enjoying the music, the food, everything that Tel Aviv has to offer. And they like it, and we like them, and it's very positive, it's very good. They enjoy Tel Aviv, they enjoy Israel, the holy places, etc. And I think that this is something that we should encourage. This is another aspect of Israel that people really are surprised to find out, to discover. But it's there. Israel is not just, holy places and Bible and religion and maybe conflicts and political problems. Israel is also, very nice places, landscape, very nice people, hospitable atmosphere, good food, and some very good parties. So, many people around the world appreciate it.
Nitzan, do you have a message that you want to offer to the people here in Toronto? The Gay Pride in Toronto is coming up next week, and I think there may be people watching from all over the world tonight. Is there any special messages that you have?
Well, I invite everybody to come and discover Israel as it is. Go around the country, visit Israel, meet with Israelis, discuss with them, and find out for yourself. I think we have a wonderful place here. There are problems, there are difficulties, it's true, but there are some very good things that are going on. And, so many people are coming and are enjoying our country. And, I invite each and every one of you to come and to see for his own eyes and to, to celebrate with us and to help us also to strengthen Israeli democracy, to keep human rights for all Jews, Arabs, secular, religious, each and every person. And this is my message. We do have some problems here, but we face them. We face the challenge, and I think that the bottom line is that Israel is a very lively democracy with a very free debate, with a very free speech and free press, and I invite everyone to enjoy it and to experience it for himself. That's it. That's my message.
Nitzan, it was a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for taking the time, and we'll hope to be in touch.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have with us here Levy, who's an outspoken columnist with the Toronto Sun. And Suzanne, you're here with your partner, Denise. Welcome, Denise. Thank you very much, both of you, for coming.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you coming by. So now you've been in the thick of things as well. What do you?
Thanks to Martin.
Did Martin drag you into all this? Or?
No. Well, that's actually how we met.
Yeah, but we have to give Sue Ann credit. She really was the first journalist to understand the underlying issues of this matter, of the Pride Parade, and she really brought it to the forefront, and the other papers simply followed her. And we got to give credit where it's due.
Well, thanks, Martin. I think Jonathan Kay at the National Post has done a very good job as well. Yeah, I guess I had the unique perspective of being Jewish and openly gay. And I think Denise and I probably would have never, ever caught ourselves at a gay pride parade. You know, if you had asked us 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, I mean, I just came out 6 years ago. But we felt so strongly about what was happening with the anti-apartheid movement that we marched. Actually, we had just returned from our mini honeymoon. We got married 2 years ago and marched in our first gay pride parade as a newly married couple 2 prides ago, and have been marching ever since.
So of course you'll be, will you be on the float next week? Or?
We will be marching next Sunday, and I actually intend to write and have both a video and still photographer there from the Sun, capturing pictures. We hope to be down there over the course of the weekend, capturing or seeing with our own eyes, which I did see last year. Denise and I stood at the end of the parade after we'd marched and watched the Queers Against Israeli Apartheid and the Coalition for Free Speech movement walking along, and we saw the membership, and this group also draws a very sizable union faction. In fact, the CUPE 416 union that operates at City Hall handed out flyers as they marched by. So they've supported, if anyone had any doubts that the union's involved or not involved, they're supported by the unions, and I think to a large degree funded by the unions.
Is that the under Sid Ryan, or is that a different union?
Sid Ryan used to be the Ontario president of CUPE, and we all know Sid Ryan's views on Israel. But he has moved on now. He is, I believe, with the CAW now. But CUPE 416 is one of the very powerful unions at City Hall. They're the outside workers union. And I think I was probably appalled when I recognized some of the people as they came by with their flyers. And they were very open about supporting this coalition for free speech. So, you know, it has drawn a number of, I guess, the thing that I think sickens both Denise and I is it has drawn some members of the Jewish community who have said, look at me, I'm Jewish, I feel this way, and they embolden the movement, unfortunately.
So who are most of these people from the unions and elsewhere that are participating? I mean, do you think that these people are anti-Semites? Are they just misdirected? Where do you think this is coming from?
Well, you know, it's funny because I think there's been a shift, and Martin would, perhaps agree with me, that it used to be the far right that was very anti-Israel and, and had overtones of anti-Semitism. Now it's shifted to the opposite extreme. It's the far left, the very radical left. So the people that, the Extra magazine, which used to be, I think, probably more mainstream, has gravitated very much to the left. And they're actually the champions of the Queers Against Israeli Apartheid movement. In fact, at the parade, in addition to the union faction, 416 workers, there was also flyers being handed out in the name of the Coalition for Free Speech, which were printed by Extra magazine. So if anyone doubted as well that Extra wasn't heavily involved, and I call them the official lobbyists for the Queers Against Israeli Apartheid. So it's the very far left now.
That's exactly what's happened is hatred and demonization of Israel has now become the territory of the radicalized far left. And the Pride movement, so to speak, has been colonized by these people. And this is exactly what you see at a Pride parade. And when you ask if it's anti-Semitism, it becomes impossible to distinguish between anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism based on the chanting and just the in-your-face viciousness that Jewish people are subjected to, or everyone's subjected to when they go there. And
so they get in your face with their placards and whatever?
They're in your face with the cards, with their slogans, with their chants, and what they tend to do is also attract the anti-Semitic element as well.
The skinheads and the neo-Nazis, and I think they also attract, because the Israeli Against Apartheid movement has made tremendous strides on university campuses. They also attract very young people, and you'll see, I mean, Denise saw on the sidelines, you know, some very young people shouting, you know, anti-Israel slurs, and, you know, having no idea what it would be like to go to any country outside of Israel, whether it be Palestine, Libya, any Iran, Iraq,
Sure.
you know.
Once they've indoctrinated them at a campus level, this is what we're finding, they're then shifting them into venues like the Pride Parade. And once they go down that hole where they've been indoctrinated, you can't pull them back. You can't engage in any type of rational discussion. You can't explain to them about what South Africa was, that there were hundreds of racial laws that separated races, that this doesn't apply to Israel. You can't explain the difference between a regional conflict and a racial conflict, which was the former South Africa. So once they have actually made Israel this pariah state, it's impossible to pull them back, and they join on this bandwagon. And that's how they hijack the Pride Parade. But something that Sue-Ann touched on that it's important to mention is that the Toronto City Council said that we're holding on to your check provided QUIA, the Queers Against Israeli Apartheid group, doesn't march in the parade this year, and we'll give you your check after. And what we know is going to happen, we have no illusions, is all these other, they're simply going to say, what they're going to do is simply join all these various union groups and other groups, same members, same signs, just technically not march in that group. So we expect the anti-Israel contingent at our Gay Pride Parade to be as fierce and as offensive as ever, and that is why we're asking members of the community to please join us on July 3rd with Kulanu to stand up for Israel and stand up to support gay rights.
Sue-Ann, what do you think are some of the potential scenarios here? If there are either small elements or elements of this group that are going under a different banner, let's say, after the parade with respect to financing?
Well, that's an interesting question, and I don't think anyone has gotten a very fair answer. In fact, I asked one counselor who has taken the lead, and, you know, let's give him credit where he's due, is James Pasternak, because I've been following this for the last couple of years, and no, you know, counselor really wanted to take it the way he has, and he's managed to put a motion through council where they're actually going to revisit the entire anti-discrimination policy, and I think they probably will tighten it up, and next year there won't be any question. This year, it's anybody's guess, because I think what's going to happen is, as Martin said, they're going to show up, they're going to march with QP, they're going to be, you know, the same animal under a different name. They're going to hide out, and they're also going to be handing out their literature, I suspect, at booths. They're going to be attending different events. One of the reasons I want to go down there is I want to keep my eyes and ears open, because I recognize a lot of these people. They show up constantly at City Hall. The other thing that really also upsets me, and I find extremely shameful, is that there are a number of councillors at City Hall who have jumped on the bandwagon in the name of free speech.
Right.
And I think they will be involved very much, front and center.
Right. Well, Sue-Ann, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We want to roll this short video, the short video called The Invisible Man.
זוכר את הפעם הראשונה שהכרת פה גבר בתל אביב?
אפילו לא בא להגיד את השם שלו בכלל. אם אני אוהב איזה מישהו, להיות איתו כל הזמן ואוהב אותו ויש לנו אהבה וזה, זוגיות, אין ביטחון, כאילו, אין ביטחון בעצמי. אם אני אוהב אותו, אולי פתאום יתפוס את המשטרה, עצור, 3-4 חודשים, 5 חודשים. זה כל הזמן, זה כמו כוס, אתה מחזיק אותו, אתה אוהב את הכוס הזה, ופתאום נשבר, זה נשבר, כמו לב, גם לב נשבר. זה רגשות של בן אדם.
15 שעות עצור, הרביצו לי כל שעה מרביצים, ומתחילים בחקירה חדשה. שמים את הראש שלי באסלה של השירותים, דופקים עליי מים, ושואלים אותי, אתה מתעסק עם המוסד?
איך נודע לאבא שלך?
בדרך איזה חבר. לא יודע, פעם רבתי אותו, אז אבא שלי מתקשר אליי, הוא אומר, תבוא הביתה, צריכים אותך. הלכתי הביתה, ואבא שלי אומר לי, יום שישי לפני שבועיים, מי היית? אמרתי לו, עם אף אחד, יש לך חברים, מה זאת אומרת מי הייתי? הוא אומר לי, יש לך תמונות שאתה מתנשק עם מישהו ואתה עושה עם סיקס וכל מיני. ואחרי זה אבא שלי הביא סכין, אז כמעט שחררת אותי, כמו כבש, כמו עז. חטפתי מכה פה בפנים, כל הצלקת. וברחתי מהבית. המשפחה שלנו, בכפר שלנו שעובדים פה, בקיוסקים האלה. ובגלל זה אני לא יכול ללכת ברגל, אפילו לא יפו בכלל. זה צעד דומה אחד ואיזשהו אחר לפני. هو ساعات انك بتعرف انك بتسافر؟ شو غيرتك كمان كده؟ انت اما انت كنت يا بدي اسافر بدي اطلع
قلت له خلص عرفت بدي
بس يعني انت عندك ام وهيك كيف قاعدين كيف يعني تشتاق الاشتياق
انا بدي اشتاق بس ما فيش حل شو بدي اسوي يعني ما بقدرش ارجع ازورهم خايف ممكن بعد كم سنه تهدى الامور شو بعرفك بجوز يعني يرجعوا يهدوا يحسبوا ويفكروا بالموضوع ينسوا الموضوع شو بعرفك انت شو بصير بعد كم سنه
עצמך, תהיה חזק, יריב, תשמע, יש פה משטרה דופקים בדלת. מהר, מהר, תבוא מהר, יריב.
Toby Rubb. This is my stepdaughter. And Toby's an unbelievable dancer. She'll be dancing in Germany for the second time, representing the Canadian dance team in October?
In November.
November. Very good. And with that, I give you Toby Rubb.
My mama told me when I was young, we are all born superstars.
She rolled my hair and put my lipstick on in a glass of her boudoir.
There's nothing wrong with loving who you are, she said, 'cause he made you perfect, babe.
So hold your head up, girl, and you'll go far. Listen to me when I say I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret, just love yourself and you said I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. There ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Ooh.
Give yourself prudence and love your friends, so we can rejoice the truth.
In the religion of the insecure, I must be myself, respect my youth.
Another brother is another friend, believe capital H-I-M.
Hey, 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 I love my life, I love this record, and me, I'm on belief for ya. I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret, just love yourself and you said I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. There ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way. Ooh.
Don't be a drag, just live your dreams. Whether you're broke or evergreen, you're black, white, beige, chola descent, you're Lebanese, you're Orient. Whether life's disabilities left you outcast, believe a tease. Rejoice and love yourself today, 'cause baby, you were born this way.
I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born
Wow. Can Toby dance? Can she dance or what? Okay, so there's one small detail we didn't tell you. Toby is going to Germany, and she needs sponsors. So, do you want to tell them?
Okay, so, sorry, I'm out of breath. But the IDO is like a World Dance Championships, and I'm competing on Team Canada. And I'm one of 21 dancers out of all of Canada that auditioned and made it on the team. Sorry, deep breathing. So we go in November, and it's for a week. We compete there's one number that's for sure, but I also auditioned my solo, and I'm almost positive that I'm competing it. Last year I competed with my solo, and I came 6th out of 52 dances from all over the world. There's I think there's a lot of countries that are there. Like, we stayed in the same hotel as South African, and I became really close friends with a lot of people from there, and it's just the most amazing experience, but it is a lot of money. So I'm trying to fundraise this year. So it'd be greatly appreciated if any of you or anyone watching would like to sponsor me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toby. So talk to Toby or talk to me. Thank you, Toby. She's an incredible dancer. So you think you can dance Canada? You ain't seen nothing yet. But she'd be in there too, but I think she's too young. Toby, how old do you have to be in so you think you can dance? 18, okay. Toby's, what are you, 15 now, Toby? Yeah, I'm turning 16. She's turning 16. Okay, we are going to try and get Michael Lucas from New York. What is the scope of the gay marriage issue? Is this just a New York thing, or what is the scope of this?
No, that's not, I think it became a 6th state. So, but it's very significant because New York is it's a very big state, largest state. So that's why it's so significant. And it was legislative process, through legislative process that we got gay marriage, not through courts and not through referendum. So, like in LA, it was a referendum that actually killed it. And usually it's won in other states through courts. Here it was a legislative process. So it's very important. This is very important. And of course, New York always an example for other states. So that's very important. And it's great for New York because because it's going to be a lot of money. A lot of people will come here to get married. So that's very good commercially as well.
So are there any other states other than New York where gay marriage is accepted and legal?
I think Massachusetts, I don't remember, several smaller states. And the big one, Los Angeles, it was only, I think, for the period of 3 months. And then it's overturned. I actually got married to my boyfriend within this 3 months window. But whoever got married is married. But now it's in front of the Supreme Court, I think, again. I think it's in front of the court, yes, again. And maybe they will change their own decision again and it will be fine and legal. Now there is a better chance for that since New York decided to approve gay marriage.
Okay, Mike.
I'm pretty sure. The public opinion in America now is over 50% for gay marriage. So very few of the, and a lot of people are undecided and not such a horrible position like even 2 years ago. So I think it will go much faster now with other states and through legislative process, which is important.
So you don't have to come to Canada to get married.
I know in Canada you guys, you're ahead of us.
We already had it, yeah. Okay, so now I saw an email that was being distributed that some flyers were being circulated. There were groups passing around some very anti-Israel messages. Was there any evidence of that in the parade today?
Yes, absolutely. We had, and that's how stupid these organizers were. They actually put this group, first time ever, which I don't know if they were queers for Israel, against Israeli apartheid, or maybe it was a combination of different anti-Israeli groups, but there was a group of about 30 people, and they were marching maybe 2 groups behind us. So at some point when we were walking towards our group, we were passing them, and we got into a confrontation with them. And it became serious, so a lot of volunteers had to run between us. They were really violent, vicious. A lot of women that were using their nails, pushing against us, and a friend of mine got a long scar here, like a red bruise. Because these people are really violent, really hateful. You know, for us, we were laughing at them, you know, and then they were pushing us and jumping, and in the end, you know, the thing is that they were saying always that they don't hate Israel, they just don't like the policies of the government. That's bullshit. They hate Israel because they grabbed the Israeli flag from the hand of one of our friends, and they destroyed it on pieces. They put it into pieces, the Israeli flag.
Wow.
So it works for them, the view of the flag works for them as holy water on Linda Blair from, you know, from those old movies.
The Exorcist,
you know,
yeah.
Exorcist, yeah. Yeah, The Exorcist. So, yeah, they absolutely hate Israel. Absolutely hate Israel and Israelis and the view of it and the Israeli flag. So it was pretty disgusting, you know. Very violent people, really violent people.
Do you know if they're making their way into other cities as well?
Say it again?
Are
They got to other cities. I know that they were marching also in Queens, and I think in Brooklyn, but for sure in Queens. I was surprised that they put us 2 blocks, only two other groups between us. We were group number 6, and I think that they were group number 9 or something like that. So they were very close. It's very weird. Though in the end of the parade, they were turning people to the right and to the left. I think they turned us to the different directions because someone probably told them that they're very confrontational. But now, in the same time, the New Yorkers were very warm and they gave us great reception. They were cheering and applauding, and they were announcing us from the speakers, and it was really, really warm and wonderful. You know, New Yorkers love Israelis. In the same time, Queers Against Israel Apartheid, whatever this group calls, with their huge banners, Stop Pink-washing Israel and all of that, they were not even announced from the megaphones. You know, I mean, how would they be announced? Like, because they were cheering like, hello Israelis, with shalom, we love Israelis. I was curious, how would they announce them? We love Queers Against Israel. Well, no, they didn't get any announcement of it. But it's disappointing that the organizers of the Pride, it's disappointing that they actually let them in. That's very disappointing. But as you know, it's always this stupid, you know, dilemma between, oh, well, is it about the freedom of speech, or it is about, you know, can we sacrifice the freedom of speech? In America, it's always a big deal, as in Canada, but in America, I think it's even bigger of a deal. And of course, they don't understand that it's all about the wrong venue. This is, you know, this is just the wrong venue for you. You have nothing to do with gay rights. This is not about the gay rights. You are just against the country. You are not supporting any gay cause.
Michael, Justine has a question for you.
Michael, I was just wondering, can you tell us a bit about the work that you did at the Manhattan JCC this year with regards to the anti-Israel group? I know you were involved with that.
And what's the question? Say it again.
The JCC in Manhattan, you were involved in trying to get them removed.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your efforts?
Yeah, there was actually, I kicked out 2 anti-Israeli groups. One several months ago, probably 4 months ago. This group called Siege Busters. There was a group that was fundraising money in the center. They were set to fundraise money. They apparently were meeting there periodically, but nobody knew. And then someone, I think from the consulate, sent me an email and said that, look, and directed me to the link, that they will be fundraising money in the biggest room of the gay center, with DJs, with the derbs, fundraising money for Israeli to break Israeli flotilla of Gaza. I'm sorry, Israeli blockade of Gaza. So, I mean, I don't think they will fundraise much money. Probably it will take them no further than Long Island, whatever they will fundraise. But I thought it's just not a good idea, not the right venue. So I called for boycott, and major donors were outraged, and within probably one day, probably like in the morning, I start working on that, and by the end of the day, probably by 8 o'clock, Gay Center put a sign on their site and said that because it became so controversial and group is not gay focused, we decided to not to let them have a fundraising campaign in the center. And then second time it happened again, it was actually a group called Queers Against Israeli Apartheid. Same people, nothing to do with gay cause, same people just under the different name. Like I recognized them, exactly the same 40 people. And so center let them in because they said that it was a difficult decision for us, they put it on their side, but this group is gay group. So, and at this point I actually had to not only contact donors, but I actually had to involve a lot of other people and a lot of Jewish organizations, and those organizations had contacts to people in the city, and that became a question of funding. So that's where we were talking a lot about that we should stop, that the city should stop and federals should stop funding Gay Center because it became such an organization that is allowing and hosting anti-Israeli organizations. So that took actually, at this point, it took about 8 days, and then we prevailed, and they put the new posting on their site, and again, after a long conversation, we decided to put a moratorium on any Middle Eastern organizations to be meeting in the center. So next day, these groups, probably about 100 people of these people and their supporters, about 100 of them had a demonstration in front of the center and occupied the front lobby of the center. So it was a mess. But anyway, they're not allowed to have their meetings, so that's a good thing. Though, you know, it's always a dilemma. What is better, to let their little fundraiser go on, and give them a lot of, or to fight it and give them this way a lot of publicity? That's always a question. So this is why I knew that they're going to be marching in the parade, but I decided not to make a big deal out of that. First, because I only fight battles that I know I'm going to win. But secondly, I wasn't sure that I want to give them more publicity. Because at this point, New Yorkers don't know who they are.
Okay, Justine,
you know?
Justine has a...
Sorry, just one more question, Michael. With regards to the New York Pride Parade next year, what are your thoughts about the anti-Israel group coming back in and possibly increasing in number? Do you plan on doing something to raise more awareness about that, or have them possibly removed? Or what kind of actions do you plan on taking?
If we will take action to get them out of the parade?
Right.
I'll tell you what, I will not put a public press release that I'm going to go and fight them like I did with the center. I think that what we will do, we will get several Jewish organizations, not gay, but just mainstream Jewish organizations like I did before, and we will meet with parade organizers, and we will talk to them. And if they will say absolutely not, I think that we will leave at that. Just because I don't want to start the war, which we might lose, and I don't want this way to give them this huge publicity, and then in the end, instead of 40 people, there will be hundreds of people marching. It will be like a magnet that will bring all the lunatics from all over the United States and Canada.
Okay, Michael.
And I know you guys thought of them there.
Michael, thank you very much for taking the time to join us, and great work that you're doing there. on the activist front. So keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Happy
Michael, and happy
Thank you very
Pride.
much.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Everybody's... There you are. Okay, bye, Michael. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Justine's going to wrap up. Tell us the details for Pride next week.
So those of you who'd like to march with Kulanu Toronto next Sunday at the Pride Parade, we're going to be having our Kulanu Toronto lineup for everyone who wants to march. You need to come to the corner of Church and Bloor next Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. That's where we're going to be starting to just get set up. The actual parade begins at 2 p.m. and then the parade ends around 4 o'clock. So if you're interested in marching, please arrive at 1 p.m. at the corner of Bloor and Church, and you can look for us. We're going to have our Kulanu Toronto banner and also some rainbow and Israeli flags there for you to find us. And second of all, as we said earlier, we do have a float this year with a live band and some dancers and some professional and Kulanu Toronto dancers joining us. So we're very excited to have that happening this year. And we encourage some of you to actually meet us before 1 p.m. at our booth site, which this year is located at Church just north of Dundonald, which is across from the Hasty Market on Church Street. And the reason why we'd like you to come meet us at the booth is twofold. Number one, to purchase Kulanu Toronto Pride T-shirts, because we'd love you all to support us not only by marching, but also marching in our Kulanu Toronto colors. And second of all, because we have a lot of materials like banners and signs and flags that need to be transported from our booth at Church and Dundonald to the March lineup site at Bloor and Church. So, you know, the more hands and bodies we have to help us move those things, the better. So we look forward to having you next Sunday, 1 p.m. at Bloor and Church. We hope you'll join us. Thank you.
Okay, to our in-studio audience, thank you all very much for coming. Give yourselves a round of applause. We appreciate you being here. To all of our people who helped and were part of the show today, thank you very much. And to our online viewers, thank you very much for watching. That's it for today. Until next week, don't forget to be a mensch. I'm David Grossman.